Welcome to Cat the Minion YouTube channel. My name is Theresa, but you can call me Cat. I'm hoping that you can hear me alright over the air conditioning. It's gotten really hot here again and I need it to be able to breathe. So for the pick a pile this weekend, I've got 2 piles, but there's a lot of cards in each pile. I'm only doing 2 because there's a really distinct twins, duality, Gemini energy lately, and I wasn't resonating with pile markers more than just these 2. So what I actually have is kind of like the lion and the unicorn here. I have this little bitty framed drawing of a unicorn charm here. If that's gonna focus any better or not. And then I have this black cat here. It says Tournée du Chat Noir de Rodolphe Sailly, and it was originally a little mince box, but it's a kitty cat. So I'm gonna start with a cat pile, but I'm gonna show what decks I've used first. Actually, this week every pile has at least 1 card from each deck, and there's like a ton of cards here. So I've got the Thoth deck. I just choked on some air. I got the Uno deck, the Mini Rider-Waite, burning in my lungs, the Syrian Starseed Tarot, gagging over here, the Gilded Reverie Lenormand, the Legacy of the Divine Tarot, those last 2 both by Cairo Marchetti, the Mystical Shaman Oracle, and the Lover's Oracle over here. Alright, I've got the books out for the Shaman Oracle and the Lenormand in case I need them, or I want to double check and make sure I haven't missed anything. So I'm gonna get going. I'm stuck to the roof of my mouth. Okay. Is that in the frame? Kind of. Alright. What do I say? The ladies out in like rows of 3. Alright. And I'll talk about what they are afterwards. I had a premonition from reading these that I was supposed to lay them out this way. Only 2 of these. Oh, get in there, you bastard. Oh man, there's so many cards. only one of these, so I'm going to... I guess I'll start with this one, since it's kind of the odd man out. Alright. I'm not sure what this reading is about, but it might be a love reading, since this is what's here. So this is sort of angel with a floating head here. Depending on what these other cards are, it'll give more meaning to what's going on in this card. It says, my beloved, though we may be physically apart, spiritually we are always united, for love transcends space and time. Nothing is missing. Alright, we're going to stick this. Nope. We're going to put this. There we go. Okay. Alright, so there's a lot of cards here. So I've got 3 columns here, so we're talking about 2 people already. So I'm going to say that this whole column here is one person, usually the masculine. This pile is what's going on between them, and this column is the other person, probably the feminine. Alright. Oh, why are these... I don't know why I had those flipped over. Probably can't see them. Alright. Okay. So I have the Emperor in a challenge position, number 4. Which is Aries energy. I just heard John Lennon just like starting over. And then I have the Knight of Discs. I'm gonna hold up the Emperor. The Emperor, the Knight of Discs, with the Sage of Orbs. So this is the... In this deck, this is the King of Pentacles. And in this deck, this is the Queen of Swords. So the King of Pentacles is Aries and Taurus with Heir of Earth, paired with the Queen of Swords, who is Virgo and Libra with Water of Air. Okay, so we can see here that there's grounding and attempt at balance. This Queen of Swords is 13. The Knight of Discs is 14. So 4 and 5 here. But I also see like completion 4, completion 3. It would be like Judgment and the Chariot together. But I also see this errant king as being, with the Aries energy, as being related to the Emperor. He's being challenged to head full on into Emperor status instead of being king of only the material world. I think we'll get more information on why the Queen of Swords is here in a minute. I think she's there because he's seeking a greater balance so he can level up, and he's looking either towards his inner feminine or to a feminine on the other side that he's interacting with. He's saying, I'm riding on my horse, I'm coming through this battlefield, and I know that I need to talk to you. I need to consult with you. Now then we have the Three of Swords inverted. Okay, so this is the Broken Heart card. This is the stabbed in the back and left wounded but not totally done. A very emotional card. Three of Swords, Saturn in Libra. And we see right away it's related to this feminine here. She's 13, we're a 1. and this is 14 or 1. So we do have this idea of 11, which is to do with timing, or it's a twin flame number. If you're not a twin flame, don't worry about it. But we're talking about a duality. Two piles, and then a union of the duality. So we have this idea of a lot of work being done on the dark side. 13 is a death number. This 3, if we say this is 1 and this is 3, then the knight, or this errant king, because this is a king in this deck, he also has 13, and that would bring in this balance that he's not going to advance to emperor level until he's experienced and overcome a lot of pain in his life. Because it forces him to address truths about himself. Now, I have... Okay, so this strength card is also by itself. This is fire, this is Leo energy. This one is also very... expressive of intuitive energy. Now, Leo is ruled by the sun, and it's the male aspect of radiant light in the universe and this intuitive perception. Feminine energy, which is this same row of cards over here, is the moon, is that intuitive, reflective, psychic ability. This is... I'll just turn the cart before the horse. It's like if you were trying to be psychic, you would have to send out like a flashlight into the world, and this is like the light beacon that's looking for the intuitive information. It's like it doesn't just ripple out and then feel what comes back in on the waters. It's like instead of just waiting for synchronicities, it's actively remote viewing and stuff like that. And it could be on the internet or it could be psychically. But strength also is that inner confidence. It's like, I know what I know. After going through this extremely painful cycle. And I do also have, if this is 14, that's 3, that's 17, that's the star, that's Aquarius, that's like developing new ways of thinking and communicating for advancement. But then also if King is 14, that's 1 and 4, that's 5, 5 and 3, that's 8 swords, that's I want to break free, that's I'm seeking to with strength, it's like I don't have to wear this armor anymore, but it's also I'm breaking out of old mental confinements and seeking more creativity in the way that I perceive. So this next row in this column, there's the 4 of Cups, the Tower inverted, and then the Moon inverted. No, an inverted tower is like tower light. It's like a controlled demolition instead of an emergency collapse. Now here, this masculine energy is like, I'm unhappy, but I'm not looking for anything that's coming in a new and divine sort of way. But this dissatisfaction is actually creating this controlled tower moment. It's like, I hate everything. I don't want to be steered by what the universe is trying to give me, but I'm going to like emotionally collapse and burn myself out, and that way I'm able to expose this darkest part of myself. So normally this card might be bad, but it's in some way, it's like I don't want to learn from the universe. I'm going to be completely broken open and then find the strength myself, half of the tower, to essentially clean up my own backyard. And it's like, you have to do it the hard way, you have to do it the slow way. Because normally the Knight of Pentacles is the slow knight who's very sure of himself. But in this case, in that particular deck, where the knight would be is the sun, but here it's the king. So it's a little bit confusing in that way. But in this case, this knight is someone who's got more power and he's got fire behind him. Okay. There's a confidence and a surety to know, like, I'm gonna remodel this whole, I just heard shithole. So what do we have here? This is an inverted card from the Lenormand. This is an extra card. I believe it's the compass. It can be any suit, so in that case it would indicate to me that it's a major arcana. So I see 4 here, that's the Emperor, and I see 2, that's the High Priestess. Now I have this king here, a low vibration Emperor. I have this queen here, that's low vibration High Priestess. And this Emperor in the challenge position is speaking to this 4, saying, this is where I'm heading. This is where I'm setting my course. And the High Priestess is to say, we're using this intuition, but we're doing it in a Emperor sort of way. Now what's 6 here is the Lover's card. That's the choice, that's the duality, it's the masculine energy and the feminine energy communicating, as well as healing. And this is healing of your own inner self, where the darkness and the insecurities and the heartache and pain lie. I also noticed that there's a heartache card in 3 and a dissatisfaction card in 4, which brings rise to 7, which is the Chariot, which is indicative of movement. Now he doesn't have a chariot, but he's on a horse. He's like the Old Spice guy. He's like, I'm on a horse. You know, he doesn't have a full you know, he's not got like a full Ferrari or a Lamborghini. He's just got a motorcycle right now, and he's trying to get there so that he can, you know, come and discuss how to hook up this whole chariot with this feminine energy. So let me take a look, but it was inverted. So let me take a look and see what that card is in here, just to see what's going on with the intent. The compass. I am here to help you find your way if there's a journey to be taken or a choice to be made. I can provide you with directions and a path so you don't stray. Okay, it's an indicator of the direction you're meant to go in. Okay, it says, look where the needle is pointed. So the way I've got this laid out, the needle is pointing towards the Strength card. 6 and 8 is 14. That brings it back to the King again. This card advises you not to proceed blindly without direction. Know where you're going, but also why you're going and what you expect to find. Just skimming this, hold on. It says, listen to your gut to determine who might be your true north. Okay, now the solar plexus is that gut center, that intuitive, right? Intuitive from the gut, from instinctive, from radiating the energy onto something and getting an image back. Different than the way that the moon works, which is actually more cerebral. Or actually, the moon is coming more from the heart center, and this is coming more from the solar center. That's what the difference is between those two psychic energies. Listen to your gut to determine who might be your true north and those who might be too eager to give advice and seek control. Okay. Now, I think this is coming in inverted just to say there's no map. I don't know why I stuttered. There's no map for where you're going. It's like uncharted territory. It's like you have to like smell your way by instinct. You're trying to create a new method of interacting with the feminine energy and with being in a masculine energy in motion, in strength, heading towards this emperor. But the emperor is actually looking, because of the challenge, the emperor is looking up. I'm going higher. We're mixing up the program. And in that way, there is no predetermined course that says this is how you do it, because it's something that's evolving in time right now. All right, so we have the drum inverted. Now, I think that has to do with the heartbeat of the earth. I have number 15 here, which is the devil energy, or it could be the magician and the hierophant, or it could be 6, which would bring it back to that lover's energy of healing and balance and masculine and feminine together. Now I'm going to look this up because I want to make sure I'm not missing anything, but I think it has to do with rhythm. But here with it upside down, I also feel like you're making your own, you're creating a new pattern, but we'll get into that in a second. I also have 8, the circle, and I think this one also has to do with portals. We have 8 and 8, that's strength. Now in some decks it's also justice, which is Libra, which is balance. And I think it has to do with bringing more people with you to where you're going. This emperor who watches out over all the kingdoms, he's actively going out there and fighting for what he believes in and moving and changing something. Alright, so let me skim these and see what's going on. I'm going to do the circle first. Circle. Okay. Alright, so we have unification, interconnectedness, continuum. We are all one. The cycles of life, the evolving self, ever-changing, always connected. Humans and the cosmos and all that. Okay. When the circle appears, it reminds you that you are connected to everything and everyone, including to spirit. Spirit's essence beats in your heart and inspires you to co-create your world. Knowing that you count, that you have purpose in this world. Invites you to dance in the sacred steps of life. It says stay the course. Right? Stay on your new charted territory. So it does have to do with unity, which makes sense because there was that Lover's card of healing and duality and joining. So let's look at the drum here real quick. Now it's inverted, so there's going to be a medicine, but we'll see what that's about. Okay, so this one also says heart. The rhythm of the drum tunes you to the beating heart of the universe. Okay, so the wood frame links you to the trees and helps you journey to the lower world via the roots and the upper world through its branches. The skin gives the shaman the powers of the animal kingdom. Striking the drum calls forth the power of the thunder and the rumbling of the earthquake. The drum invites a trance state where healing and prophecy can happen. So that's kind of what I see that's happening in here. I see that 3 of Swords as relating to the underworld, to that death phase. And I see this emperor looking upwards into the higher realm, saying, okay, I know what it's like in the dark, and now I'm going to bring myself into this upper world. This is that trance state where you can see what's going on, where the prophecy is happening. All right? It says, you travel to the beat of a different drum. It's time to acknowledge you do not fit a mold or role or relationship that's not in tune with you. Find your rhythm. The price you pay for lingering becomes higher with each passing day. Now is the time to move on. So as I was saying, this inverted compass with this drum and this particular strength card is bringing this king energy, knows that he's got to move. He needs to change the path that he's on. He needs to stay on the path that he's envisioning for a better future, for a higher engagement with the universe. He's creating something new, and he's insisting that the universe match his donation. Okay, so let's see what's going on this other side, which I'm guessing is the feminine energy. After I get some water. Ow. Okay. Have the Ten of Wands inverted. That's Saturn in Sagittarius, which is the... So there was some Saturn energy over here, but then I also had fire energy in both Aries and Leo. But now we have the missing one over here, right? What is this? Nothing is missing. So we're not missing any fire. We have Sagittarius over here. This Ten of Wands is inverted. This one looks like skis in a chalet. Skis in the door handles there. So we have Ten of Wands inverted. And then I have... oh, Lust. This is the Strength card. Wait, is that Strength? Yes. This is the Strength card in this deck, which is an 11. And I did say that some decks have 11 instead of 8, which would be Libra. But here we have an 11. And then we have the Queen of Swords over here. So it's like saying she's the Queen of Swords, that the king over here is modeling this energy that he wants to achieve on. And she's feeling this fire in a different way. She is in the 13. 1 and 3, that's 4. And then she has 11. She has 15. So she's on that. She is picking up on this drum signal. And I would say, because this is Lust in this particular deck, that it's really turning her on. She can see from this cloudy thing up here that the masculine has taken off whatever mask he may have had before. It's like an off with his head, but it was like a mask, and now she's got it as a trophy. It was like he gave it to her, or he's going to give it to her. And she's seeing from high up on this cloud mountain here that he's doing something critically important. And and even this one has, this lion has all these masks. And she's, it's like she knows which one is the real one. And she's like, yes, I see this sunrise energy that you're putting out. Queen of Swords. Again, that's Virgo and Libra. So it's a very grounded and balanced energy. And she's been through this death cycle as well. And notice that the difference between 13 and 11 is 2, which is the High Priestess. Now this 10 of Swords indicates that the feminine didn't do the 3 of Swords inverted to get into the pain and grow from it. She went all the way to 10. She had overcome, like, stick a fork in me, I'm done, overkill. Like, you can squeeze no more pain raisins into this, you know, soda bread or whatever. So she's experienced pain, and she sees what's going on with the masculine energy, and she sees that he's fighting, or not even that he's fighting, that he is intent on running this new paradigm into the universe, and it's getting her a little bit toasty. Like, she's so hot that she's not even wearing a top anymore. It's supposed to be see-through here, but she got her tits out and everything. So we have the 8 of Cups here. This is responding to this 4 of Cups here. I mentioned the 8 of Swords. So she has, instead of the breaking free card, she has the walking away from what doesn't serve. But notice this is 4, 8, and then there's that 16 over here. But there's also this other energy of the 8 from this, directly from this Strength card. So she is responding to this 8 and the 4 and the 16 on the masculine side, and coming back and saying, like, I've been into the dark. That's 10 and 8. That's 18. That's the moon. I've been into the dark, and I've let go of it on my end. 8 Cups, Saturn and Pisces. So this Saturnian energy is getting shifted into this moon, which is ruled by Pisces energy. Say this, like, I've been put to task. I've done all this hard work. They come back and say, exactly, yes, I mean, I'm definitely talking about the moon, Cancerian energy, and ruling the High Priestess as well. And that's 9, 1 and 8, that's 9, 9, 8, 17, that's star energy on this side. That's that hope for the future, that Aquarius, a new idea, new concept, a new floor plan for the tower that got busted. Alright, so the next layer here, King of Cups, 4 of Wands inverted, and the 5 of Pentacles. Okay. This 5 of Pentacles is speaking to this 4 of Cups. It's saying you felt just kind of apathetic to everything. I felt like I was left out. But this 4 of Wands inverted, this crusty foundation here, speaks to the inverted tower here. It's like I put myself out in the cold because I knew this house was busted. Literally walked away from the King of Cups because it was the only way to get him to go there. Right? Or to say, in order to be master of my own emotions, I had to walk away from this house of cards that gave me so much pain. So this King of Cups could be her, or it could be relating to the masculine. To say that the Queen of Swords had to work hard in her own masculine energy in order to stabilize what was happening with this destruction. And notice that the King of Pentacles is reflecting his inner self with the Queen of Swords, and she's reflecting her inner self and what she wants to see in him with the emotional center. Now he's working up to his heart, but he's got to stay focused in his solar plexus. But this drum in this is actually where he's looking up. He's looking up into the heart space, and he's going to bring everyone with him. And she has an 8 here. That's the mountain. So that's an obstruction. 8 of Wands. All right. Things haven't been moving quickly, and there hasn't been much communication. But this mountain that's been blocking the way, that's like, it's like saying that this is this, they look very similar. This busted foundation, that inverted tower. Where the hell is it? There we go. This is essentially the same card. 4, 8, 16. And then inverted, we have 21, which is the world. Right? It's like the world keeps cock blocking you. But now, the world is like, oh, now, it's like, none shall pass. It's like, okay, maybe you can go. We have 2 and 1, so that's the High Priestess and the Magician, but together we have the Empress. So removing blocks from the world that allows the complete emotional stability, and to pivot as well, because that's 5, and then 5, 8, 13, that's the Queen again. It's removing obstacles that block you from where you want to go in the world. And look at this, the Holy Mountain, 25. So we go to 21 to 25, and what's the difference? The Emperor. It's like the same friggin' card. And then we have the Jaguar inverted, 28. And what's the difference? The Empress. This is my favorite card in the deck. The Jaguar is, it's like it's like 4 chariots lashed together. This is the primal earth feminine energy. We have a moon here showing that we're in control of the moon. I believe this was inverted. And I want to see why these are inverted. And I feel like the Holy Mountain is like the castle where the feminine energy is waiting, because she knows that this higher level of universal interaction is where the masculine's coming in. And I also see the Holy Mountain here as being linked to the High Priestess, because I'm going to see 2, 5, 7, and then we have 4 times 7 to get to here. But the Holy Mountain reminds me of my music deck, because in my music deck, the High Priestess, and this is the slightly lower vibration of that, is the Man on the Silver Mountain. That's the song I have, by Rainbow. Alright, so let me see, let's see what the Holy Mountain is first. Just to double check this. The Holy Mountain. Okay. Native peoples around the earth recognize mountains as places of great power where one encounters spirit or where the gods or goddesses reside. And there's a couple of other examples. It says, in Peru, pilgrims climb the ice-capped Mount Osengate, I don't know how that's pronounced, to receive the starlight and bring fire to the earth, right? So we're looking up to the stars and then bringing that fire down into the earth. And there was fire here, star energy here, star energy here. When the Holy Mountain shows up, inverted, it's time to be active. Do not let your doubts deter you and keep you bound. That was this over here as well. It's time to leap over challenges and to remember that from the top of the mountain there are no obstacles, only beauty and an unobstructed view of the entire earth. So here she is actually up on that Holy Mountain. Okay, and you already have all the gear that you need to get there. Overcome any lethargy, indolence, which is being a slacker, and laziness, as these are the real obstacles. Oh, spirits totally calling me out on that too, because I've been in that energy lately. 28. The jaguar is the protector of all life in the Amazon. In times of fear, she brings courage and certainty. So when the masculine energy is ready to go out, he's looking towards this Queen of Swords to help him stay his course that he's not sure about. Jaguar is at the top of the food chain and never becomes prey. With great stealth, she can track her mark from a distance and not be seen or heard. She moves gracefully through the jungle, relishing the abundance of the rainforest, fearless and at ease. Okay. Jaguar knows the ways beyond death and is master of the shadows, blending invisibly between light and dark, night and day. So that's why this death energy between 10 swords and the Queen of Swords being 13, the death number, is relevant. This in the moon here as well. I've been in the darkness. I've known the dark. And now I move swiftly around all the obstacles. And it's not sneaking in a sneaking, malevolent way. It's like you know all the underground tunnels. So it's like, what needs to be released? What have you carried around with you too long? What are you ready to let go of? And it's allowing for healing. 28, that's 10, so that's answering this 10 here as well. And 2 times 8, that's 16, that's an inverted tower. Time to come out of the shadows and end the shadow games that you may have unconsciously agreed to play. Call on Jaguar to unfetter you from toxic relationships and recover your natural instincts for the right people and situations. So it's like the masculine energy is trying to create right people and right situations, and the feminine energy is saying, like, I've harnessed all of the darkness while you're harnessing the light, and as soon as I get over feeling like I'm too tired to do anything, it's on. She's gonna come in with not 1 chariot, but 4. Alright, so let's see what's going on in the middle. I see the coyote here and the rattle, so I have kind of an idea of what this might entail. The universe, the eon, which I saw over here. Saturnian energy. That's all that work. All that manifestation. We have 21, which is again that's the magician and the high priestess, the masculine energy in control of all the elements. So it's like, if you take the high priestess and the emperor and mix them together, that brings way for the magician. And then the high priestess is that night energy, that nurturing, growing in the dark, gestational energy. And we have change, 2 of discs inverted. I just heard the more things change, the more they stay the same. But notice how this card is like infinity, so it's also like an 8, strength, fast communication, movement, hard work. And we have Jupiter in Capricorn, but it's inverted. And I feel like that's saying, I just heard like they're putting out the fires. Then I also feel like we're not hoping on luck this time. We're choosing to make it happen. Now, two of discs is usually like, oh, it's this thing or the other thing, this thing or the other thing. But here also, it's like we're not doing an eeny, meeny, miny, mo. We're not doing it on luck. We're making the decision to do something. So we have 2, which is again having to do with duality. And then we have the Adept of Crystals. This is the Knight of Pentacles. And I see this as actually being the same guy. Look at this. I have the King, who is wearing his out and about suit of armor. He's dressed as the knight, but he's got 2 extra. He's 14, and this is 12 and 2, that's 14. It's talking about the same guy. He's making this decision to harness this power, and he's got this glowing crystal in his hands. He's leveling up. He's feeling that juice, that electricity from the universe, and he's got the mountain tower behind him. He's rebuilding the way that he wants it to be. This guy almost looks like a magician. Adaptive crystals, what do we got here? Okay, so it's Leo and Virgo with fire and earth. So he's taking... Now Virgo is ruled by Mercury, so he's beginning to think and speak and communicate and create waves of, like, psychic waves of this sun energy, because he's choosing to manifest. Almost lost my train of thought there. All right. 4 of Cups again. Followed by the High Priestess inverted. There's that 42. Alright, so here's this. This is like a breakdown of this. It's like, how am I going to say this? Okay. Somebody thinks that the masculine is bringing in the same old, but what they don't see is that it's manifesting in a different way. Okay. Oh, and then immediately we have Death, the High Priestess, and the 4 of Swords. It's like a hat trick. It's like saying this is what you've been putting up with. This is what I'm bringing in. I'm changing that 4 to 4 of Swords. The day after death. What's different? I've seen the light and I've seen the dark. We have 42. That's the uncharted course. Death to the old course. Death to this crap that's been happening before. Scorpio energy. That underground water and knowledge of dark and light. And the 4 of Swords is waking up. It's what is that energy? Jupiter in Libra. This is Jupiter in Capricorn. And then this is Libra. It's like morphing these energies and saying, okay, now feel the light, wake up. It's, I've reflected, I've woken up, I've healed, I'm healing from what I've just experienced. But this is like full charge forward. But I see these cards as being the same as the Death and the High Priestess together. He's not bringing death though, except to that old way of life. And here this feminine energy is leveling up. It's like, I feel like this is like those motivational Skeletor memes. And also it's like people underestimate the masculine energy. They're like, what do you know? It's like, you just don't like anything, do you? Well, you got another thing coming, people, because... This is really powerful energy here. This is like a hat trick. And here we have this doors here. Let me see what this card is called because I'm not really sure. 22. What is that called? Choice. Okay, so it's called choice. These two doors here. It's very much like this, which has change on it, right? A change is gonna come. And I also heard a change will do you good. Yeah, shell crawler. So 2-2, that's the High Priestess twice, and then 4 brings it into the Emperor energy. I also have Queen of Pentacles inverted, which is a death cycle inverted. And I see it as very much related to that. It's saying, oh, we built up this world, but I'm going to make this decision. I'm going to flip the script and tell you what I've decided. This card reminds me of the Work Your Light Oracle card that's, what's it called? The No card. Because it's when it flipped upside down like this, there's stairs in it that look an awful lot like train tracks for the chariot, but when it's upside down, it's like a zip line track. Here, this looks like a zipper that's being unzipped. I'm detaching from this other previous existence where everything was ugh, and now it's like, oh my god, what have I woken up to? This is amazeballs. Okay, so let me just skim this real quick. Alternate directions are what I augur. Takes us onwards and upwards. Oh, once you are through the doors at the top that lead to the stars, then the possibilities are infinite. And this also is like the universe, which is infinite. And then the 8 on here, even though it's inverted, is infinite. Okay. So then we have this unity here. They have the rattle, 4 and 3. It's, oh, look, instead of 42, now we're at 43. We have that masculine energy and the feminine energy, and this idea of the chariot is coming. And the rattle is very similar to the drum. And it's paired with coyote. 12, that makes it 3. 4 times 3 is 12. Coyote, I believe, comes in where expansion comes through difficulty. It's not necessarily to play tricks on you, but if you didn't have these sort of trials and tribulations placed just at the right moment, you wouldn't learn things. Coyote takes the fall for that and saying, you know what, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to make things crappy for you because it's the only way you're actually going to learn. If you were just told it, you wouldn't believe it. And the rattle has to do with changing the vibration and awakening different energy frequencies in your brain so that you can have that higher consciousness, again related to the High Priestess. So let me skim these and read them real quick here. I do coyote first. The one who provides detours for growth and understanding, right? Without your compass with detours. The energy of divine deception to set you free from the shackles of that which don't serve you. Sometimes it appears that you'll get everything you want, only to find that coyote brings you the opposite of what you hope for. In that case, not taking that divine cup is the best thing you can do for yourself if you smell the bullshit in the cup. And this energy has done it twice. Okay. Oh, he's upright. Okay. Pay special attention to detours and disappointment, as they are tests of true faith. So this is also kind of like disappointment. But with the 3 here, the 3 of Swords, it's like painfully, you know, like utterly painful disappointment. There's another word for it, but I can't think of it right now. You have set your intentions and turned them over to the Great Spirit. You may find yourself lost and confused when it appears you are being led off course, which is kind of where the feminine energy had been for a while. Coyote is a sacred trickster and may be leading you into challenges to ensure that you are ready to handle what you've set in motion. So here, this masculine energy is setting something really critical into motion, and the feminine energy has been through her own trials and tribulations so that she can come and contribute to what's being set in motion, because you can only carry so much on a little motorcycle, but when they're together they can drag, you know, a freight train. Great growth and understanding come to you when Coyote calls your name. So again, that has to do with that expansion of consciousness with all that swords and priestess energy as well. And that solar-based gut instinct expansion. Alright, what have I got? Not much time left, so I'm going to get to 43 here and talk about the rattle. Alright, the rattle. The spirit caller carrying the shaman's prayer to the 4 directions. Look at that, 4 directions. Look at that, there's only one difference between them, and what's that difference? The magician. But I also feel like the 4 directions speaks to the jaguar because there's 4 chariots here. The body of the rattle is like the earth spinning on its axis, so that's the world. 21, which is almost half of that. Just dog-eared the page by accident. It says, with the aid of the rattle, the medicine woman instills a desired destiny in her future. The rattle guides us to pray for all the earth, not just for our personal needs, which I feel has to relate to the circle. It says, when we offer our prayers for the highest good of all, everything we need is provided for us. Now, there was a thing about having what you need provided for over here as well, and I don't think I read it out loud. It says, the rattle comes to invite you to work with the tools of spirit. Be careful, they're sharp and can hurt you or others if they're not used mindfully. Set your old tools aside and take up the drawing instrument of spirit. You're consciously stepping into a partnership with this divine. And I did say co-creating over here. Do not let your hesitation get in the way of your expression. Okay. Now, I see a lot of these cards as relating to what's going on with the masculine, but it's almost like the feminine has been waiting in the dark for so long, and I feel like this should be a 9 of Wands instead of a 10. And if I take half the moon, that does give me that 9. It's like she's so thirsty for what he's offering because she's been waiting so long, and she's ready to come in with her own manifestation magic. It's like beat the grass to startle the snakes. Changing something, changing a paradigm. There's a lot of back and forth here, because if I take it back to this beloved card, it says, this is what's going on here, right? The feminine's been in the dark. She's kind of like a floating head with this popping in to try to see what he's doing with this psychic energy. And he's trying to come in the physical world, and so that he can have a dialogue with her and sort of grab her up wholesale so that they can move forward. Though we may be physically apart, spiritually we are always united, for love transcends space and time. Nothing is missing. Okay? And I think, again, this speaks of masculine and feminine energy, which very well could be, it could be a love relationship, or it could be twin flames, but I think it does hold steady even if you're only working with your own internal energies. There's some kind of great paradigm shift that's happening between these energies, where a new territory of behavior and interaction is going to be happening. So I'm going to come back and do the unicorn reading after my camera cools down and change the battery. We'll see you in the next pile very shortly. Alright, so I have my camera cooled off, I have a new battery, and we're gonna get into this unicorn pile here. Not sure how these cards are gonna get laid out necessarily. Okay, I guess this is only 2 piles on this one. A lot of sideways cards on that pile. Okay. Kind of. Two, 4, 5, 6. This one goes up here. Okay. So I'm not sure what these 2 piles are. There's definitely a duality going on here. I see the unicorn and I see this idea of the crown chakra, so I feel like this column is you and this column is your higher self. Alright. So let's see what's going on with you. Oh, I should have just flipped these cards over to begin with. Okay. So I have success, which is the 6 of discs. The moon in Taurus. And then we have 3 of wands inverted with 2 of wands in the challenge position. The sun in Aries, and then Mars in Aries. Now Mars is ruled by Aries, so we have double Aries here. What these 3 cards are next. Adept of Flames, so that's the Knight. With the Lovers, that's 6, and then we have the 10 of Crystals. Alright, so the Knight of Wands is Scorpio and Sagittarius energy. The Lovers is Gemini, so that's air energy. And then the 10 of Pentacles is Mercury and Virgo, but it's inverted. So something that's not grounded or hold up on communication. Now, Virgo is ruled by Mercury. So that's interesting. So we have like double here, and then the twins obviously is another double. Alright, so I have the Stork inverted with Queen of Hearts energy inverted. 17, which could relate to the star. 1 and 7 is 8. That could be 8 of Cups inverted. It could be the Magician and the Wheel inverted. And then we have the Emperor inverted. So this is Aries energy, again with Aries. And then Queen of Cups is going to be Gemini and Cancer energy. So we have more Gemini energy as well. So this little... When I get a crap ton of the mini Rider-Waite, I always feel like it's a little comic strip. So I'm going to flip these all over here and see what I've got. Oh, see, there. Okay, so the Queen of Swords came out in the cat reading, and I did have 4 and 2 of the other elements come up, as well as the 2 of Wands. And I mentioned the 9 of Wands, but it didn't come out in the other reading. Oh, the 10 of Wands inverted did. Okay. This is interesting. Okay, so we got 4 of Pentacles, Sun in Capricorn, Queen of Swords, Virgo and Libra energy. You know, this one Virgo, 10 of Crystals. Yeah, so that kind of speaks to that. And with the 10 of Crystals and the 10 of Wands inverted here, that's interesting. It's just Saturn in Sagittarius. Is that Sagittarius? 6 of Discs. Okay. And then the 9 of Wands is the Moon in Sagittarius. And this was the Moon in Taurus. So I do feel like these 2 cards are speaking to this one. And then this 2 here in the challenge position is something about making a choice. In the same position as the 2 of Wands up here. Interesting. And I feel like 2 Wands leads to this 2 of Pentacles inverted, which I'm pointing at, but it's off camera and now you can't see it. Let me see if I can move this a little bit. No. Shift this whole thing up a little bit, maybe. I'm gonna make sure I'm still in focus. I think that's pretty good. Check. Just trying to check and see if the focus looks good. Okay, what's the next layer? Fox inverted, 9 of Wands inverted. So there's the 9 of Wands inverted. We have 14, which is Temperance inverted, but it could be 5, which would be the Hierophant inverted, or it could be 5 Wands inverted, and it could be the Emperor and the Magician as well, or the Emperor and the Wheel. And then we have 38, which that's the Bridge, okay? So this Fox and the Bridge, which could be any suit, so we're dealing with 38, which is 11, which could be Justice or Strength, and then we have 8, which is Strength or Justice, and then 3, which is the Empress. And then I have the Mask here, that's 40, so that's Emperor and New Beginning, or other combinations that equal 40. And then I have these Swans here with 24, with the Jack of Cups, so that could be Knight or it could be the Page of Cups, depending on what the energies are. I have 2 and 4, I have 24 here. So that could be 6, that could be like the Lovers, or the 6 of Cups inverted, which to me makes me think that it's a Knight, because if it was a Knight it would be 12 inverted, and then 2 is the High Priestess, and 4 is the Emperor again there, so we've got that. This is going to be a big honking reading. Alright, so what are my planetary energies here? I've got 9 Wands, that's that same energy there. 3 and 8. Okay, so there's Libra, there's the Sun, and Taurus. Yeah. Which is ruled by... Wait, no, Venus. Okay, Venus. Yeah, so... Okay. The Sun, Venus, and Libra energy, which also yields Taurus and Libra. Okay. So I'm getting Uranus energy from here. I'm getting Aries energy. I'm getting fire and Pluto from the possible double judgment, and also 4 wheels, which would be fire as well. With Jupiter energy. Or 8 times 5, but I don't need to go through all that. So I have 24. So that could be Gemini energy, which is, I think this is the Lovers inverted because it goes here. But we'll see what the Swan card says. And then if that Jack was a Knight of Cups inverted, we have Aquarius and Pisces with fire and water. Oh man, snuffly. Earth, 17. I thought I saw star energy somewhere else in here, but I could be mistaken. It might have been the last reading. So we have Earth, that's grounding. So I have 1 and 8, that's strength again. Oh, that hurt to sneeze. We have the Crow, 13. I've not seen that in a while. So 13, we have the number of death. I think the Crow has to do with psychic intuition, but we'll get into I'll read the book and see. This has to do with nurturing of the earth. If you nurture yourself, you help heal the earth because of the microcosm, macrocosm aspect. Now, see, this is the wings of the swan. The 2 energies joining together, the duality, and then we see it again like with the Lovers, the 2 energies, the dark and the light, the union of opposites. It says, the past is now behind you. Release it and embrace new possibilities. A new path is now available to you. Follow it with faith. Okay. How is that? Oh, okay. So this is actually in the wrong spot. Like over there. Okay. Alright, so what are we doing? Let me shift these down so I can grab them a little bit. Success. 6 of Pentacles is like a masculine energy's open heart chakra. And you see this flower here, this multiple layered rose, kind of reminds me of the heart chakra and these green things coming off of it. But I also see what looks like more like early cellular growth, like something new is starting to be created. It's like expansion in the universe. So we have the moon in Taurus. We have this like really physical, tangible energy having to do with grounding something that's coming out of darkness. And it's in that way, it's like it can, especially with the image on this card, I see it as like gestation. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a successful pregnancy, but it's something that you're working on that hasn't reached its final form, but is starting to gain traction and starting to, it's like the stem cells within your metaphorical thing are starting to specialize, and it's starting to become a functioning body, whatever it is that you're working on, that's something that you feel very connected to in your heart space, that makes you happy but is a little bit in the dark still. Now we have 5 wands all together, but they're ending up being in more of an inverted position. Five of Wands has to do with conflict and pressure. It's like an internal battle. At least the way I see this. I feel like these are like two sides of yourself that are fighting with each other together. We have a choice that you're trying to make about the future, like being unsure about your future and constantly fighting with yourself to give up on it because you're not sure that it's going to ever manifest. And what I see is it's like what are those? We have Aries and Aries and the Sun. Okay, so I see the Moon on this card and I see the Sun inverted in this energy. Like what it, like your driving force energy, that solar energy, it's like trying to figure out what to do. And the only way to figure out how to do your future is to not, it's like you have to sort of follow your instincts and not plan out what's going on. You choose to harness the Moon energy and listen to your gut to do something, but then check in with your heart to understand that and keep a faith that you're doing the right thing. It's like, I don't know, I don't like, this like constantly fighting in your head about what you're doing. And I just heard ecliptic. Okay. I feel like this is working with the Six of Pentacles. This is the 10 of Pentacles in this deck. It's like you haven't gotten to this state of what you wanted yet, unless this is saying this is something that's happening in the past. You're working with your solar energy here instead of constantly fighting against yourself, right? We have an energy of 1 or 12 here, which is enough to overcome the 11 that is in the 6 and the 3 and the 2. We're starting to understand where our feelings are and trying to get over this idea that nothing is going how we want it to. Now here, this 2 of Wands that comes up as a choice comes back as like the ultimate choice with here. It's like, what are you doing to heal yourself? And I see a Tower here as well. This idea that, you know, what you thought you wanted isn't what it is. And you're finding out that like leading with this gut instinct is going to give you this satisfaction that you absolutely want. And it's this idea that you're not the king of your own or the queen of your own domain yet. You're trying to learn how to harness these energies and stay in that intuitive, true to your soul identity energy. Now I see this Stork card here. There is a death cycle with this emotional inverted queen here, but that's a good thing. Now I also see 17, which is the day after the tower falls down. These storks are birds that are locked into repetition, just doing the same thing over and over again. And I think with the card coming out inverted, it's saying we're not just going to keep following that treadmill, get up, go to work, and all that stuff. Is this what it came out with? What the hell? Yeah, okay, so it came out with the Emperor inverted as well, right? So to say that we're not in control of our entire world, now this Aries energy is inverted as well. So we have emotional energy in that, and the Emperor inverted is like unbridled rage, dictatorship, and then we have this monotony card as well. So I think that's a message together. The storks are like sort of bending away. The branch is heading in the opposite direction of the inverted Emperor energy. So let me read the storks here and see what's going on. The stork is a predictable creature, even though it's fabled to bring change. For example, with the delivery of a child. Here it's inverted because your new thing isn't completely born yet. So in reality, it returns home like clockwork to the same nest every year. Its return to the nest at springtime is the reason for the association with birth and delivery. Oh, okay, so they're in the blazing sun with a break of clouds. Or breaking through the clouds. Okay, the process of birth and life and then death brings inevitable change. So we have a lifestyle change. Okay. So this is kind of what I was getting, is that this sort of dictatorial mandate in society that people just do the same thing every time, and follow the calendar, follow the trends, follow the work order, get a house, pay the bills, and all that. And it's this queen with the 13 inverted as a death cycle is saying, I'm not following this mandate anymore. We have 4, which is in wands, which is fire, which is also Aries, this idea of, it's like burning down the house. The foundation is being changed, right? We have the sun coming up with this foundation inverted, and that's that solar energy that's telling you that something has to shift. Now then we have this same 4 energy from the Emperor in the 4 of Pentacles inverted. So the sun, that solar energy, is now in Capricorn. When it's upright, to me, this is the world is not enough. Give me all this stuff. What am I working towards? Do I have the car? Do I have the house? Do I have the trophy wife? Do I have, the brand name clothes? Do I drink the right kind of alcohol? It's like that Rolling Stones song, he can't be a man because he doesn't smoke the same cigarettes as me. And we have these like towers here in the background, sort of pale in comparison to the all-consuming dollar. It's like, why am I building my nest out of this? These aren't gold coins, they're Necco wafers, and they taste like dirt, and they're gonna rot in 5 minutes. They're not gonna rot because they're made out of grease and sugar, but you know what I mean. So here, it's like, notice that the only thing that this king in this image is really holding on to is this disc in the center. These other ones are stuck on just kind of like Velcro. It's like letting go of it's like letting go of hard work that has no value for you. Letting go of this material stuff that you didn't want. It's like here, it's like, where's my stuff? What's happening? Here it's like, well, I didn't really want that anyway. Notice that 10 and 4, that's 14, that's temperance. There's a balance coming and realizing which things are valuable to you and which things aren't. Queen of Swords coming in, right? We have the Queen of Cups inverted here, and now this Queen energy comes back from the dead saying, well, we've found out the truth now with this creative new idea that's still in gestation, this sort of smoke, this like, is it like fog machine? Like a fog machine. Right? It's like this concept has been a long time coming. You're like waiting and waiting and waiting for all this stuff that you were supposed to have to come, and it didn't come, and you did what you were supposed to and it didn't work. Here we have 911, right? We have an emergency call. Something has to change. I have to make a decision in the world. Again, this like deciding factor. This like untenable position. On 10. Inverted 10, untenable. right? All this crap that I didn't even want is a huge burden. Why do I want it anyway? Peace out on that, bitches. So I have 11 and then 10 here. Together that's 21. That's a world. It's a new world view based on what you're not going to accept for yourself anymore. Alright, so I have to read the book for the Lenormand because I'm not that familiar with it. Here's that inverted temperance again. 9 of Wands inverted, right? I'm not going to wait around for this shit anymore. The Fox is supposed to be sneaky, but I think inverted, there's something important about it. So let me see what's going on with Fantastic Mr. Fox here. Okay, so this is the trickster card of the deck, which is interesting because I had the coyote in the cat reading. This is the trickster card of the deck, and its presence brings cunning and plotting for good or ill, depend on its position. So here it's like, you're like, I've got a plan so cunning you could put a tail on it and call it a weasel. It's a Blackadder quote, if you're wondering. It's like, I am not going to be tricked by this sleazy BS in the world that says I have to work and pay taxes and be a good little automaton, and then, oh, just kidding, you don't really get anything out of it. So now it's like, aha, I have a plan. A new plan of action. Let me read the rest of this if I'm missing something else. It says, at the time of conception of the Lenormand deck, and I don't need to read the rest of that sentence, but it says, like, literally in the paragraph, it says the word conception, which is what I was saying that this card is about. Immaculate conception. Okay. Now he's looking at this inverted bridge, right? The fox is looking towards the bridge. Oh, look how much that looks like it continues from the other card. Sickening! This sweet is... Oh, I was thinking that's the wrong way. Okay. Alright, so we have this bridge. The Bridge of Death from Mr. Goldfinger. 38. So let's see what's going on with the bridge here. Bridge too far. Ooh, what was that? This reminds me of Bubsy. Did you ever play that Sega game, Bubsy? I think he's a bobcat, but this kind of reminds me of him because I think the game we had was called A Bridge Too Fur. This kind of reminds me of that. It was a carnival level that was a pain in the ass. Okay, so we have 38 bridges. I just heard that line from Monty Python in the Holy Grail. They're talking about how to tell if the woman they captured is a witch, and they're like, build a bridge out of a... Churches float in water. Symbol of transition and overcoming obstacles in your way. Act as ways to cross a divide and thereby opens up new opportunities. Helps bridge a gap. We have a mask here. Okay. It says, look deep into your soul, for whose amusement do you play? I balance the contradictions and encompass the opposites. I think it's important that it says compass, because the compass came up in the other reading. But this bridge is inverted. Now, usually it would mean, like, crossing the distance between these two mountains, and like fixing it. But here it's almost like crossing into uncharted territory. And I did get the idea of uncharted territory in the other place. It's like in this mirror world where you get to decide what you do and not what people tell you to do. Right? And here's this portal into this sort of funhouse world. Notice how I said that Bubsy had a circus level. And then we have this funhouse situation. Right? So it's like we're looking back on our decision to come away from that which we were waiting around for and wasn't good. And then we have 4, like a new foundation based on this Fool energy of taking the leap into something different. Right? We have this sort of consternation face over here, heading that way, but this sort of neutral, all-swallowing face is like where you enter into this new portal. But it could potentially, it says that it could deal with theft, but the way I'm seeing this mask right now, it's like you're going somewhere like beyond the mask, beyond this, like putting on a smile for society, or you know, pretending to be unhappy when things don't go well for like a company that you work for that you don't even care about or something like that. The other card here, again, the swans. So let me see the swans. It's almost like there's an unfavorable view of the swans being inverted, but let me see what's going on here with the swans. 24. I'm still pretty new to the Lenormand deck. I've only had it for a few weeks. Oh, it's called Heart. Not bad. So this can also be wearing a mask to protect your emotions. And here we have the heart inverted. Which makes sense, because if the Lovers is often defined with heart shapes as well. 24, the heart. The form of happiness and love is simply drawn in my shape. I am your feelings and emotions. I'm your passions and devotions. Swan bird itself, symbolic of courtly relationship, monogamy, and enduring love. Beneficial emotions. Okay. I feel like this is signaling unhappiness. But because it's on the same, like, frame as these cards, I feel like it's saying unhappiness on, like, in my heart, unhappiness in where I've been going in my life, in my work, and trying to get where I'm going. And the way to get out of this constant unhappiness on both sides is to go through this portal with that Fool energy. Now this here, it says this is like taking flight of in your own heart space. It's like leaping off. It's like you take the leap, but you didn't know you had wings. It's like foop, like Icarus, only they didn't melt. The past is now behind you. Release it and embrace new possibilities. A new path is now available to you. Follow it with faith. So that's where that emotive energy comes from. This drive to that one's energy, that faith to that. God damn, I can't get it. Give me the card. There. The truth in the heart center of in the creative way of expressing truth. That's that faith to go where you're going. So then we have the Earth and the Crow here. We have, again, this idea of the death cycle, and then the idea of 17 could possibly be the star as they're coming in after the tower, which this is very suggestive of a tower moment, as well as a death cycle, death and rebirth. Alright, so let me read the Crow first, because I don't remember what that card's about. Ah. Very much like the same idea here. Crow is the keeper of universal law, the law of truth. Teaches us to walk our talk to find congruence between who we say we are and who we really know ourselves to be. So that would be the breaking down of the mask. Insists that we speak truth and we create the truth instead of searching for it. We bring the truth into every situation we find ourselves in. When you speak the truth and practice truth, eventually everything you say becomes true. Your power to co-create with truth is the universal law. Correct what is untrue in your life without judgment, and the truth will set you free. So that's really what's happening here. It's like knowing that the truth is that you don't want this stuff that's been pushed on you, and that you're creating with the universe this new concept for yourself. All right, so let's, and I think the Earth also has to do with co-creating as well. So let me get in here. The gift of life. You're giving birth to a new life for yourself out of the darkness. Okay, refers to the body of planet Earth, the human body, and nature herself. Steward of life on this planet. Refers to what we make of it, our health, wealth, security, grounding, solidity, and stability. You need to focus on reverence and appreciation for the natural gifts that are coming to you now and always. To remind yourself that you're in the world, but spirit and part of it. Much can be accomplished now when you focus on compassionate, reverent service to the world. If you act with integrity, gratitude, and humility, you will find yourself more prosperous than you can imagine. Okay, success is assured when the Earth appears as an invitation. Okay, so this has to do also with this sort of not trustworthy card being inverted. It's saying, go with the truth, be honest in your co-creating with others. And you'll be able to make the world as you need it, as you see it, as your gut instincts tell you to bring it to be. Okay, I get a sip of water. Alright, so let's look at what the higher self... I think it's interesting that the Queen of Swords here looking like very much like the unicorn horn here. Well, let's look at what the higher self is doing. The Knight of Cups in a challenged position. In this deck, the Knight is the king, and a sun is where the Knight would be. So we have the King of Cups, should be a 1 or a 14, and he is Libra and Scorpio with air and water. So right now I see that balancing out where there was an inverted temperance here, and that Scorpio energy from that death thing. So we have the Queen of Pentacles inverted, and the Six of Wands in a challenged position. And I feel like the Queen of Pentacles has to do with the death to this thought I had to have it cycle. The Six of Wands is that victory and that public recognition. It's like people are going to see the new way that you've decided to manifest in the world, but you still have to work on it. And I believe, what is that? Leo in the... wait. Jupiter in Leo. and the Queen there, Sagittarius and Capricorn. So there's a lot of fire energy. Sagittarius, of course, ruled by Jupiter. So we know that this is like a challenge to be victorious over overhauling the way that you manifest. Two of Chalices inverted. The Moon in a challenge position. And the Six of Chalices inverted. Now, where the hell? Okay. The challenge is to stop romanticizing the past, the stuff that you're used to understand that letting go of these things is going into a darkness and meeting it like head on. I also noticed that we have 6 here, which is a third of the moon. There, it's like I want to say it's like it should be sort of, oh, okay. Victory in your future, 3 times the 6. 3 wands times 6 wands, we get to the moon. Okay, so the 2 of Cups there, Venus in Cancer. The moon is ruled by Pisces, but the moon itself, not the moon card, is ruled by Cancer. And then the 6 of Cups is the Sun in Scorpio. So again, there's that death cycle, that scorpionic energy. It's like dictating that we're going to understand the past as being somewhere dark and not worry about moving away from it. You don't have to hate yourself for the life that you thought you were going to love. The High Priestess and the 4 of Swords inverted. So, High Priestess is ruled by the moon. And then the 4 of Swords, which came up in the other reading. Jupiter, again Jupiter energy, and this time in Libra. So, there's this wake-up call to intuition. The Queen of Swords is a midpoint between the 4 of Swords and the High Priestess. 13 adds up to 4. Alright, usually this is sleeping on it and trying, it's like a junior hangman. It's the day after battle, we're regrouping. It's not like a full hanging upside down, meditating overhaul. It's, okay, what have I learned from where I've just been in the dark, getting over my past? Now it's like, okay, wake up and smell the roses here. This is the truth. So it's saying we're waking you up, you're getting to this point where you know the truth, but now you're going to have this vision, like vision for the future. So we have Judgment inverted, and I did see this 40 as Judgment twice. We have the Empress, and I did think that before I said this was 6 of Wands times 3 to get to the moon, I was gonna say 6 times the Empress, and there she comes out. That's Venus energy, which is Taurus and Libra, and we had Libra here as well. The 8 of Wands in reverse. Judgment. Judgment is fire energy and Pluto rules death. Here it's like, I just heard like a revival. Revival of full control, nurturing your energy, balanced and grounded, and it should be in air with the Libra, should be able to communicate as well. But let's look at the Eight of Wands. So we have Mercury in Sagittarius, and it's like shooting down, and I feel like even though this is inverted, it's like the divine is trying to knock you in the head with these wands. You know, it's like a pea shooter, like pew pew. Let me see what these other cards are, though. So we have the Knight of Cups in a challenge. Now notice that this king here is labeled the Knight of Cups, and this happened in the other one too. I had the Emperor looking up as well. And he's like floating in the air. He's trying to catch this crab here from Moon card. Well, from the normal Moon card anyway. So we're having a reference to this. This knight is a king, so it's a king that's errant. He's actively doing something in the emotions. And I did have the King of Cups come up in the other reading on his own. And then we have the Chariot inverted. So these two cards together is actually lack of movement. I have 15. And then I have another 5 here that's saying it's like it's like hold up for a second. Your life purpose isn't going to be, you're like not being shifted into your life purpose, even though there's nurturing going on, because you have to get a hold of your emotions. You have to balance your emotional content, and we see that we're still in this dictate of overcoming feelings about where you've been in life and how disappointing it's been. This is still in a gestational phase because it needs a 6 of Cups in the upright to go with it, to have balanced masculine and feminine energy that will sync it up as 6 and 6 and bring in the Lover's card for that complete healing that will then shift the Chariot and the Eight of Wands from a 15 in a Devil energy to a 6 of the Devil inverted and give it that unleashing, which is why it's a challenge for this Knight of Cups to get all the way to the King level. Okay, so let's see what all these Lenormand cards are. The Key and the Woman. This is the alternate woman. She's sort of, it's like the Empress. She's very in control and extremely feminine. Here she's like very sensual and sexual as well, so it's a very toasty, very much in the Taurus energy of the Empress. So 2 and 9, that's 11. And I also see it as like, can be 911 as that wake up call, which was that emergency, which was over here. 3 3, that's 6. That's where we're trying to get this balanced 6 energy, and then we have 2 Empresses there maybe. And I also see this as very much being like the 2 of Wands, which can be is often shown as keys as well. You have 8 of Pentacles here. The Sun in Virgo, and Virgo is ruled by Mercury. So we have this idea of trying to communicate something. Here we have Ace of Swords, so we're trying to access the truth through this very heated, and not like angry heated, but like sensual feminine energy, which is where you would expect a gestation to take place, right? Sexy times before growth times. So we have the Clover here, which is a 2, which is that High Priestess number, and then we have 6 Pentacles upright, which is what we want, which is suggesting this, right? This sensual queen is looking towards the sort of literally the fruits of her labor. We also have 7 here, which is the the Chariot, and then this 8 here as relating to that devil energy. And so we have 11 and 2, that's 13 again, and then 6, that's 18, that's the moon. And the other card here is the Anchor, which I don't think I've gotten yet. We have 8 again, and then 9 of Swords, sort of indicating... Now here, the 9 of Swords could be a nightmare, but I think it has to do with like overcoming nightmares in the past. See, now notice how it's like very watery in this card. It's that, again, this knight trying to overcome this emotional grievance. Put this over here so I can hold on to it. So let me put this over here. So let me read these out. I'll start with the key here, 33. Discoveries and solutions are my forte. You will find me in synchronicities, signs, and fate. So some of that's what's coming with the universe, trying to like get this strong, nurturing growth energy with the wake-up call, and the High Priestess coming in is to pay attention to the synchronicities. When I land close to you, know that you have the means and the answers to what is troubling you. Oh, okay, so this did go over here. So it says, look to my right. I point to what is highly important or what needs to be solved. So that's this nightmarish energy from the 9 of... God damn it, the 9 of Swords that needs to be addressed. Both unlocks and secures depending on which way it's turned. Part of liberation. Okay, so let me go to the Anchor here and see what that one's about. It says, with stability and security I bring peace of mind. I push you to persevere and help you reach your goal. So it's like a picture of hope. Now, I was going to say that 8 and 9 is 17, which is that star energy. Star energy is the hope. And I find it really interesting that a positive card like the Anchor would have a 9 of Swords on it, which tends to be rather negative. But the 9 of Swords is very similar to the 4 of Swords. It's like waking up, like a pivot. Anchor offers stability and security, being confident that your hard work will pay off in the long term, right? So this is the long term. It's not fully born yet. It says you are protected in times of need. So there's this idea that the universe is trying to protect you so that you can overcome this emotional it's not like PTSD. It's like anger about the past and like feeling that you've wasted time. All right. Let me get this woman here. BD2. Yeah, I mean, this really is just the Empress. Sort of creative, feminine power. And again, we have the Venus sign here. Now, Venus is in retrograde, but Venus was also originally a comet and brought a lot of, like, fear and destruction to people, and then was regarded as a symbol of love. And the devil, and I said there was devil energy over here, when it's inverted, that pentagram goes from being the symbol of the goat head to the symbol of Venus. So we have this idea of changing something that's been tying us down into something that will grow us and nurture us and give us power in the future. And again, we have this idea of the Ace of Swords there of truth. So we have Clover here. Just skim this here, Clover. Crimson and clover. Me, me, me. I bring you luck and happiness. I make things better as long as... No. I will turn difficulties to opportunities. And the nice surprise and the happy sighs. Mentions fertility as well. Growth and luck. Purity. Could also be lucky in love, but I don't necessarily sense romantic relationships unless it means loving, like loving of yourself, overcoming that frustration with your past in that way. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so then we have secret admirer. Someone has deeper feelings for you than they are letting on. So this is the heart chakra being opened. Now, I think what's happening is that the secret admirer is sort of like yourself to yourself, right? You're, although it could be romantic, but not necessarily. Like your feelings about what's been going on in your life and where you're going are deeper than you thought. And this is a way to say, like, understand. Like, let yourself go into the depths of your feelings and feel how deep they really are. And that's where that nurturing and growth is going to come out. So I have the Time Master, 57, breaking down to a 12, which would be the Hangman, which breaks down further into 3, which is the Empress again. So Hangman is water, which is Neptune, which rules Pisces, I think. And Time Master, and this is about sort of understanding like the infinity of time and how it's sort of illusory, and knowing when to flow with things in the universe, and that has to do with this as well, this expansion and growth in the universe of manifestation. So I will get into that and read that, but look at this. I feel like this is sort of the same idea, only like this would be the king after going out on his mission, and here is just the knight who's sort of younger and just starting to get the hang of flowing with the universe. And we see this tetrahedral grid thing here, which is also represented in the 6 points on this as well. It's just a different way of drawing it. So this young sort of shaman in training on this card says, look deep within your heart and you will feel my love. My love for you is as deep as the ocean. So that's like your higher self talking to yourself and giving you this nurturing and this other nurturing. Right? And I was just talking about how deep these feelings go. And that is where that healing is going to stem from. So let me get into the Time Master, and that will finish this reading. Time Master, 57. 57. 5 being a pivot, and then 7 being the Chariot. So it's like turning your cart. The worm has turned. Time, it just says that thing about the time being illusory. Time moves in patterns, fractals, sometimes turning like a wheel, other times moving straight as an arrow. Humans see time like a ticking clock, and this image reminds us that there's only so much time of it to spend in a life, like currency. So instead, it's like you're upset with yourself because you spent so much time doing all this crap that you thought you were supposed to do. But But at any given moment, you can see time in all its infinite potential, at once vast and all-encompassing, and then shrunken and finite. Depends on the perspective. So you can say, oh, I'm running out of time, or, you know, I am the arbiter of my time. So, will you break free from limited cause and effect by... Will you break free from limited cause and effect thinking by moving beyond the linear illusion of welcoming the cyclic quality of time? You find yourself in a moment when the wheel of time turns and you're able to influence the past, thus changing the present and future simultaneously. So that's what's going on here, is this sort of gestation of change. You're being invited to take back your power, let go of the past, and choose to step into your life. Okay? So your higher self is telling you that you should really emotionally unburden yourself from where you've been. Let yourself fly free of the constraints of, you know, the linear time of your life up until now. And that will unleash this, like, love for yourself, secret admirer. You have deeper feelings for you than you're letting on. Ultimate care for yourself is taking back your power and being in control of your own time on this planet. And that turns you into a unicorn. Now, I'm just going to put as a side on the unicorn, in the Madeleine L'Engle's book, Many Waters, the unicorns could teleport. Alright? Your life is not working, teleport yourself into a life where it is working. Change that shit up. Shift and then go. Okay? So that's the unicorn pile, and if you want to keep on this channel, they get more pick-a piles, which should be every weekend, like I have intended them to be, if I keep doing them on time. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel and check out my playlists tab for the other stuff that I've got going on. Yeah, so if you want to get a reading, the full list of readings and how much they cost is in the description box of my infomercial video, which is linked below this one. I'll move this down a little bit. Okay. Now, that list of readings, if you want it, you can also email me, thecatcameback@gmail.com. If you want to donate, hit the tip jar, energy exchange, it's paypal.me/cattheminion. I also have Cash App and Venmo. I have coloring books, I have a poetry book, I have merch and prints that are like psychedelic stuff mostly. A couple of them are fashion things. If you want to get made-to-order items like this, or a digital portrait, or a couple other things. If you want to get a chapbook pack that's sort of like a mini oracle reading, mystery packet. They're all packed up. I have no idea what's in them. They're randomized. There's poetry, there's drawings, there's numbers and crap in there. Those are all in my catalog link. The other links, they're all in that description box, or again, if you email me, I'll send you that whole line of text so you can find it. So don't forget to like and share and subscribe. Toss a comment in there if you're nasty, and hopefully we'll see you later. Bye.